We all want to make our lives meaningful. It is rooted in the human DNA, and in truth, it was encoded by God Himself. But the question is, how can we make our lives meaningful? What can we do to live meaningful lives? That is what today's episode is about. So I want to welcome you to our very first episode of Advice from Living. My name is Owo Living, and I am here to answer your questions about life and faith. A lot of us would logically say we should pursue our dreams and things like that. And I commend them. In fact, I have many dreams I pursue. But those of us that are Christian in our thinking would not rest content with mere pursuing a dream or an ideal or aspirations. We know life is more than about us. So to make life meaningful is to pursue something infinitely beyond us. In fact, our dreams and aspirations should not be an end in itself, but means to fulfill this grand meaning. So, as a gospel-based, Bible-saturated, God-centered Christian and teacher, I think to make our lives meaningful is to live for the glory of God. This is the point I want to make in today's episode. People would admit that they have asked questions like this: is life really significant at all? Or is it just a mini football coming from nowhere, going nowhere, with nothing in between but randomness? Why many people struggle with this question about the meaning of life? The vast majority of people, both religious and non-religious, are absorbed by trivialities like fashion and social status and fancy food and the best wines and bigger houses and wealth accumulation and all the life-consuming labor it requires to attain and maintain those possessions. People just assume that what everybody else seemed to value must be valuable. The thing is that very few people stop to reflect on whether or not that is true. Henry David Thoreau, in his search for real life, once said, I quote, "If men would steadily observe realities only and not allow themselves to be deluded, life, to compare it with such things as we know, would be like a fairy tale and the Arabian Nights entertainments." Close quote. Most of us are not in search of purpose. Well, we think it's purpose. We are trying to attain meaning in our achievements and possessions and entitlements. That's not purpose. That's the reality. A true purpose is what you're going to do even after you're dead. The moment we find purpose, meaning follows. So, one of the things I've discovered is everybody wants to be happy, and the meaning of life is to know and enjoy and reflect God as He really is. So, the true significance of life is that God made human beings in His own image with precious value. And that value, that significance, consists in knowing and loving and showing God. In other words, since God created life, life's true meaning is about God. Isn't that what every creator does? A creator creates something to show his value. That means the product, or let me say, man is not central. God is central. He created the universe and humanity in order to magnify the greatness of God. And our joy in this world, which God made essential, is in Jesus Christ, is in Jesus, in God the Father, in the Holy Spirit. our accumulation of things and cravings for things leads to one end: happiness. So there is no tension between finding our significance in living for the glory of God and being as happy as we can be. Just that this desire should be bent Godward. This is one of the greatest discovery I've made, as I said earlier, that God's purpose to be glorified and my pursuit to be happy are not at variance. They come together in finding my satisfaction in God. I call this pursuit of life God-centricalism. But we waste our lives if we seek our happiness and significance without reference to Jesus Christ. If God is left out of the big picture, if Christ is taken out of the painting, if we become millionaires or billionaires, have all the sexual pleasures we can imagine, becomes very famous, then we have wasted our lives. Because in the end, God is the one who created the world, and God is bringing the world and everything in it to an end for his ultimate purpose, and namely his glory. And if we haven't joined him in the purpose of glorifying himself in all we do, we are wasting our lives. You waste your life if you don't do what you were designed to do. And every human being created in the image of God was designed to reflect the glory and the beauty and the worth of God. So if we don't find our ultimate joy and supreme happiness in Jesus, if we don't find our deepest satisfaction in Jesus, but instead find it in other things that may, in the short run, however good that thing may be, looks very satisfying, we have wasted our lives. Which means most of the world is wasting their lives because they don't know God, they don't love God, and God is very small marginal consideration out of the edge of life. That's how majority of the world views God. It's not central, it's just one of the things that maybe constitute life. But for the believer, the meaning of life is not in our possessions or titles or degrees or anything else that will pass away with this age. This meaning is found in the man Jesus Christ and the mission he has given us. All temporal gifts God provides are for us to enjoy and for us to employ in the mission he calls us to. And not for these things itself. Because if you look to these things for life's meaning, you will find them trivial when we come to die. So my advice concerning what to do to make your life meaningful is this: join God in his passion for his glory. Think on this verse. Therefore, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31, New King James Version.